see if we have, there we go.
I'm showing we're live.
We are live. And welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be fantastic. We have Ron Saharyan, who is the co-founder and managing director, and this is, there we go. I had the other thing right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I'm going to try that again. Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be fantastic. We have Ron Saharyan, who is the co-founder and managing director of Profit First Professionals. He joins me live on a Facebook Live, which is also going to be on our podcast, which will be airing on our podcast. And so if you're watching live today, certainly invite you to interact in comments. We will do our best to answer any of those questions. And of course, if you're listening into this podcast at a later date, well, then definitely you'll be able to get this video in the Successful Bookkeeper community portal, which you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com to go and get access to the video. So, Ron, great to have you. Maybe start, for those that perhaps don't know you, and I would be surprised if many didn't know who you were, but please let us know who you are and a little bit of your career journey leading up to being the co-founder of Profit First Professionals.
Sure. Thank you to be back. And thank you for having me, Michael. And thank you, listeners, for listening to the show. So I co-founded Profit First Professionals with Mike Michalowicz. He's the guy that wrote that book right over there, Profit First. And we started the company to support the teachings in the book. Prior to that, my career was more in building companies in an operational standpoint and from a sales structure. I love systems, I love operations, and I love niche specialization. And so when Mike approached me to start this, I was previously working in Manhattan, running a highly successful staffing firm, got the company to all-time high in revenue, consultants on the street, and margin. Right? And Mike asked me to join him. And I said, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. So this was my first opportunity to become an entrepreneur. I don't think of myself as an entrepreneur, but more of as a business owner. And I think that is different. But over the past several years, I've worked with thousands of accounting firms, bookkeeping firms, and coaches, helping them to implement the Profit First methodology in their business, helping them learn the methodology, the cash flow methodology, to implement it in any of their customers, as well as helping them leverage the association.
It's fantastic. You know, it's amazing how Profit First has really become a global conversation, a global philosophy. We have had guests on the show that are from Europe. We've had guests on the show that are using the philosophies in Australia, the United States, Canada. I mean, it's just growing and expanding, and I really believe it's because of the difference that it makes for so many small business owners out there in the world. I'd love for any of you that are viewing right now, I'd love for you to just put in the chat, are you familiar with Profit First? Are you utilizing Profit First? Let us know if you're one of those people that are already using the Profit First professional philosophy or have read the book. We'd love to see that.
Yeah, and thank you. Yes, we are a global organization. I believe we're in 25 different countries, and the book's been translated into equally as many languages. My experience is that, you know, well, first, let me back up a little bit. Profit First is not accounting. It's not bookkeeping. It's a cash flow methodology. Okay, it's a system. It's a cash flow system. But I also want to back up and share with our listeners that our overarching theory is sales minus profit equal expenses. We're flipping the equation a little bit more. But in today's time, Michael, one of the things that I've been sharing a lot of is that the P, okay, in the profit equation doesn't just represent profit. So I've made this little sign here. See if you guys can see it. Sales minus profit equal expenses. Then you have the owner's P equals owner's pay, P equals tax, P equals profit, P equals security, P equals purpose. And so what we're doing is architecting the cash flow for these specific purposes.
Fantastic. And it's great that we tackled that and explained a little bit of that, because I see one of our guests that are joining us has never heard of it. So great. This is your opportunity to hear about it
Yeah.
and learn more about what it is. And we also have some joining us that are currently in the training and can't wait to help clients. Well, you're the person, and unfortunately, I can't see all the names of the comments that are coming up, but I will say you're with one of the best, Ron Saharyan, who I've had many conversations with. So I'm excited about getting into the conversation and sharing a little bit more about what Profit First is, but as well as how yourself, Ron, and your other co-founder, Mike Michalowicz, are dealing with times today. I mean, how is Profit First handling the COVID crisis?
Right. And so delicately would be the proper answer. And so we're helping our members and any accountant, bookkeeping or firm. I mean, if you go to profitfirstprofessionals.com, click on that hamburger thing, you'll see our recessioners response toolkit that is designed for anybody to help use to guide their customers through this. And so one of the things is we've noticed, because this isn't our first rodeo. I mean, maybe it is on the pandemic level, but natural disasters have been happening across this globe. Floods in Houston, California, wildfires, earthquakes. It happens. And so generally, when there's this crisis, okay, the business crisis trend, the first thing that people do is they react. Okay. The shock of it all. Then they get desperate. Okay. And this is where consultative conversations come into play, because everybody was just shocked. Oh my gosh, what's happening? So as accountants and bookkeepers, we kind of want to be that rock, that person that's going to say, okay, let's take a look at what's going on. And stage two is usually desperation. Oh my God, I got to cut everything. I got to let go of my staff. I got to cancel my rent. They're just making all these desperate decisions. Okay. And a lot of those decisions are the wrong actions that we want to take. All right. We've learned that there's a combination of offensive strategies and defensive strategies. And that's where the accountant really can come into play. Okay. Because during stage three, this is where the rubber is hitting the road, where we're evaluating what's going on in the business. We're evaluating our products, our services, our cash flow, our employees. We're taking a strategic look at the finances, inefficiencies, okay, and really coming up with a game plan. And so one of the strategies that we've deployed is a simple methodology of questions and answering. And let's just say, for an example, your company or your customer's company has a 10% revenue decline. What are the questions that you need to ask, and what are the action steps you need to take should this happen? Then the 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80%. And by having a little bit of a game plan in place, should your revenue hit these thresholds, you've already asked yourself these questions, and you've already decided on what action steps to take. And the reason this is important, because the questions you ask and the decisions you make and the actions you take are different from a 20% loss of revenue to a 70% loss of revenue. And it's very difficult for a business owner to divorce themselves of the tough decisions that they're going to have to make. So I've learned that by having a plan, Mike and I have this plan. We did this ourselves. We sat down and said, hey, if this, what are the tough decisions that we're going to have to make? One, it gave us a little bit of a sense of relief that, okay, we did it. Then we know we hope we don't have to take these steps, but we've made the decision with a clear head that this is what we're going to have to do for the survivability of the business. And that's in stage three of the evaluation of really what's going on in the business. Because if we do not have these plans and we're making gut decisions versus data-driven decisions, we could be off. And so what we want to do is migrate to stage 4, which is taking deliberate action. Okay. Taking action, making sure you're making the right decisions. Then, as the curve is going out, we're coming out of this, we're going to see a surge. We're going to see a burst of activities. And with proper planning and collaboration, you're going to be able to have a business continuance through this and continue to succeed as the market gets better. My concern is if people are stuck in the shock stage and the desperation stage, that they're going to cut too much, they're going to make poor decisions, and they're not going to be able to make it out of here because some of the decisions were irrational.
That's the big one. That is exactly what bookkeepers and accountants would be best suited, and especially with the profit first philosophy, is to ensure that people are making the right choices, because you can cut yourself out of business. And also it's a domino effect. I mean, we're all in the same ocean here. And so if everybody just decided to stop paying everybody, we'd all sink. And so there are strategic decisions that need to be made, tough decisions that need to be made. But if you have somebody that can help you with those decisions, and as well, some of the hard decisions might be the wrong decision. So it's like, how do you have that other set of eyes there to help you make these choices and make sure that you're making the right choices?
Well, there's also a little bit of ethical decisions that we had to make, and the personal decision that Mike and I, we have our global headquarters, and it's a nice space. Well, we can't go there. Right? We can't go there. We haven't been there in 2 months. And, initially, the normal reaction is, let's cancel our rent. That's a big investment. We're not going to need it. We're not going to do it. However, we decided not to do that because we have the money. We have the money allocated in a specific rent account. Okay. Now, when this all hit a couple weeks ago, that was an option. Do we want to do this? But then we said, well, okay, maybe we shouldn't be doing this just yet. And so then now we've been in this a couple of weeks now. Okay. It looks like we're going to be in this a little bit longer. We're probably going to have a conversation with the landlord, and the conversations, it's going to be a working conversation. If we're not using the facility as a business owner after a couple of months, hey, listen, we're going to have to renegotiate terms here. Right?
Absolutely.
If there's something we can do, I'm not abandoning you, but again, if I'm losing it, say 50% of my revenue, well, that decision has already been made, that we are going to cut this. We are going to do it. But as we see the trend going, maybe we need a reprieve for 6 months. Maybe we say, hey, listen, is there something we'll pay you a little bit, okay? But we're going to do this for 6 months. And then as things hopefully get better and we're using the property again, maybe we can normalize our rent back up to its current stage. So you have bad decisions, good decisions, ethical decisions, moral decisions. And keeping the economy going the best he can by paying my landlord, who's not one of these. He's a local guy like us, right? He just happens to own a building, right? He's not some mega real estate investor. If everybody in his one building all of a sudden said, "I'm not paying rent," well, that would have a tremendous adverse effect on him and his family. So we're kind of balancing it, and I think that's what we all are doing, is a little balance of offensive and defensive strategies, not swinging the pendulum one way or the other way too much, but by being very fluid and kind of seeing what's happening out there and, rolling with the punches, as they say.
Yeah. And this is the message that I think bookkeepers and accountants can be getting in the ears of the business owner. Right now, many of them will be in fear, and they'll be making business decisions based on fear. But this conversation alone, it's like we're having a rational conversation about a specific situation. This can be the conversation, and the message is that, look, you're a business owner, you're going through this, you're in fear. Well, so is your neighbor, so is your trading partners. everybody's in this position. So let's stop and take a look at this and make decisions based on those 4 or 5, emotional, logical, ethical, you said a few others, but that gives the message like, yes, I'm in this together and we can work together.
Right.
And the challenging situations, you have conversations. But a business owner left to their own devices, not a good thing, right? This is where bookkeepers and accountants really get a chance to shine and be very valuable to the businesses that they're serving.
Not only to help mitigate the circumstances now, but to learn from the lessons of the past. The economy's been rocking and rolling. Business has been flourishing. That masks a lot of the problems that a business may have. So everything, all bad business processes have just been suddenly exposed. Right. And so what can we learn from this and position the business, the company, not only ours, but our customers, to weather the next storm, the next flood, the next hurricane, right? And so, I mean, if I go back and, I talked to my grandfather, he started at a company right out of World War II, made it all the way to a CEO, retired in the late 80s. And one of the lessons that he always shared with me, it was, businesses and people are going to survive through tough times. But how a business survives is by having cash, and having enough of it in a bank. And there's a reason companies like Amazon, Google, IBM are sitting on $1 billion worth of cash. 1, acquisition. 2, in case things happen. And so I think this is a wake-up call, much like the housing crisis, in the recession 2008, that we need to have a little bit more fiscal responsibility and not necessarily be as aggressive with the advice that we've shared over the years with regards to reinvesting into the company, purchasing behaviors, and rather, let's set up a vault. Let's have an account set up where there's at least 6 months of core capital available for the business.
Yeah, so, this is. I just put up a post here from one of our viewers. Profit first is key for me, having a good cash reserve to weather the economic disruptions from this pandemic. So the work that this person who posted this, and unfortunately the tool only allows us to, it's not putting up faces here for some reason, but they've done the work and they have a reserve, and they're going at it. So they did that, planning prior. They had access to the philosophies of profit first, and they're in a good position. And likely her clients are in a better position as well, because they've done some of this work. So it's sometimes you're not one of those people that did the planning and did the things you should have done yesterday, but today is the next best time to be doing those things. And yet, even in a time of challenge, people are scrambling around. They're trying to do lots of different things inside their business. They have new requests. They're having new conversations. They're maybe overloaded with stuff other than the normal work that they're doing. How do you help people, and what are you seeing in your community in a time like this?
To realize it's okay to be afraid, to realize that you don't have all the answers. Okay, to slow your roll a little bit and take a deep breath and make data-driven decisions. And the best you can do to divorce yourself of the emotional of running a business, of hiring people, of firing people. It's okay to cry. In essence, it's okay to be upset, but it's not okay to not do something about it. And so by, creating a simple plan of what action steps you're going to take serves as a little bit of relief, but also to communicate, to talk. You got a great group, Michael. I mean, Pure Bookkeeping, the community is awesome. There's so many smart people in your community, so many people that have weathered storms, so many people that can provide the advice. Go out and seek it. Don't wait for it to come to you. Go out and participate in the groups that you belong to. Ask questions for there. Consume the information, validate the information, but participate on seeking additional knowledge. Now, that could be a little bit overwhelming. No doubt about it. I mean, Michael, you probably get 1,000 emails like I do. Everybody's telling me what to do with Corona and how to
Mm-hmm.
apply for the loans and how to do this and how to do everything, right? It's a little bit like eating an elephant. And what did they say? One bite at a time, right?
Yeah.
So slow your roll is what I like to say. Take a step back, take a deep breath, know it's okay, but you will get out of this. We will make this out together because we are stronger together than we are as individuals.
Absolutely, and I think it's a time where we're going to come out of this far better, far stronger than ever before. I mean, fiscal responsibility and having to take a deeper look, having to become more efficient and to work in a more efficient way, the way that we are today leads to a cleaner balance sheet, leads to a cleaner profit statement, probably what we'd be looking at with Profit First, right? So this is going to encourage more people to do things like the work Profit First is suggesting, which then just leads to where does that profit go? Where does what does a healthier business actually do in the world? Well, they create more value, I believe. So while still be lots of unpleasant things to come from this, there will be many pleasant things as well. Just wanted to make a note. Ron Bandora Fox was the person who commented on Profit First. She's been instrumental in using the work, and she's mentioned as well that her clients, her Profit First clients, the ones that have done the work with her, are sailing smoothly through the chaos. And so that's the encouraging thing, is that this could be the call to others to do the work and make a business that can be okay in a situation like this. Because guess what? If you're okay now, you're going to be awesome when things turn around.
Right. Absolutely. And I firmly believe, and of course I have my own, biased opinion, but Profit First is going to be the new normal for cash flow management. Like I said, it's not accounting, it's not bookkeeping. It's all owners pay when it comes to the tax professional. But this is a strategic way to really allocate your money for purposes, and like I showed in that first initial screen, there's a bunch of different purposes that a business owner may have, from charity to 401k to a vault. And by really having a system that a bookkeeper, an accountant can go to their customers and say, hey, listen, let's talk about your prospects. Let's talk about your cash flow system. What is the system in place? Okay, you don't have one? Great. Let's introduce you to a system. Right? No need to talk about what was done in the past. Oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. It doesn't matter. What we need is a robust system that's scalable, that provides clarity, and we really understand why we're doing what we're doing with the cash that's coming into our business.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's really an opener into having these kind of conversations with the businesses that you serve, for those that are watching and listening. And I'd love to put it out to our viewers right now. How are you approaching? How do you get that conversation started? How do you get your clients interested in having this conversation? I'd love to hear from some of the viewers. And also, Ron, you also already gave that, a little bit of that, but if you have anything else to add to that, I think that's it. It's like we want to enroll people in doing this work in their business, and as well, it's a way to do the work and also profit from it yourself, as being a way to be an advisor and add new revenue streams to your practice if you're not already doing that.
Right. And one of the things that I was coaching our members on was, as bad as your business may be, you're an accountant, bookkeeper, financial coach, your customers are putting you on a pedestal without realizing what troubles you may be or maybe not being going through. The first action, in my opinion, is to pick up the phone, not to send an email, but to pick up the phone and say, hey, Michael, hey, just want to let you know I'm here for you. All right. Anything I can do. I've been looking at your finances. Let's schedule a call. I'm sure you have questions, but I want to let you know that I'm here for you. That's simple. That when I received that voicemail from two of our partners, it put a smile on my face.
I love it. I love it. Well, here's one that'll probably put a smile on your face. Jennifer Hume, thank you for posting. We are sending videos to clients, letting them know we are here for them and can offer services such as profit first and cash flow management.
Great.
Beautiful. So a personal video to clients, which is a creative and new. I don't know that it's new, but it's new for many people to be able to actually send a video to your clients, a personal video to clients. So that's great. Thank you, Jennifer, for posting that.
One of the technologies that we use, Mike McAllowitz uses it more than me, is BombBomb. And it's a quick little video that he sends, customized video. Boom, here you go. Send it right away. And, the personalized video really shows some additional thought and caring in it. Follow that up with a phone call. Emails get pushed to the bottom. Voicemails may not get received. So the combination of emailing a video and also following up with a phone call, hey, I'm going to send you a video as well.
Yes, absolutely. You've left a message. You sent an email with a video in it. I mean, it's pretty hard not to respond to it, and it's fantastic to get them. And quite frankly, not that many people use them, even though the technology has been around for several years. Not many use that, and so it will help you stand out even today after so many years of it being available. It's still rare, so it does take some time. And I think the challenge for many of our listeners would probably be the concern. I'd love to hear from you, Jennifer, as well, because you're doing it. What had you not do it earlier or before? I would assert that it'd be, fear of the video, getting it right, making a mistake. I mean, even myself getting on these live videos, at times it's stressful, or we're going to mess it up like I did at the beginning of the show. But I'd love to hear from some of the listeners as well. You, Ron, if you have any comments on that.
When I had to give one of my first speeches in front of a large audience of 800 power washing companies, I was scared out of my mind. I mean, I'm not afraid to talk in public, but this was different. And one of the, we have a lot of great resources in Profit First. And I was speaking to one of our trainers who teaches our members how to speak publicly. John Bates is his name, actually. He's a TED Talk guy.
Love John Bates.
Yeah, he's awesome. And so he was telling me, he's like, a couple of tips. If it's live and you can see somebody, work the room beforehand, make some friends and smile at them when you're talking. The next is the mindset. And this was something that I was sharing with you earlier. I'm just going to be a service. I'm going to try to provide tremendous value in service. And if I stumble on my words, it's okay. If I mess up a technology thing, it's okay. But I'm coming from a place of service and wanting to help. And I think that resonates more so than trying to be super professional, super, on point. We're all humans at this. So if your message is coming from the heart and you're just being of service and you believe it, that's all that counts.
Remarkable. Yeah, I can't agree with you more. We lead ourselves with our mind, and we've got. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be monopolizing, but that just triggered something.
You're the guest
in my mind.
Ron, you can monopolize.
I was speaking with one of our European partners, and she was complaining about how many phone calls she's getting, how many this, how many repeat answers, how many this. It's taking her away from doing all this other stuff. I want to come up with strategies to automate the same answers. I want to do this. I want to do that. I said, time out. Your customers are calling you. Congratulations. That's a great thing. Embrace it. Embrace it. Put your arms around them. How many times in the past were you telling me that you would love to talk to your customers more? You can't get them on the phone. They're not returning your phone call. So I had to shift her mindset, her frame of work from being overwhelmed, like, why is this happening to me, to why is this happening for me?
Beautiful.
Right? And so embrace it. Embrace what, this opportunity to have a lot of conversations and provide a lot of help. It's happening for you because of a reason. And the fact that you're calling you, that means they trust you. It means they like you. I'd be afraid if people weren't calling you.
Amen to that. That is the case. Is often we we make wrong the things that are happening that are absolutely amazing things to be happening for us, as you say, and I've loved that frame. It's happening for us, and yet to left to our own devices, left alone, not in a conversation. If she didn't reach out and have that conversation with you, you wouldn't have been able to interrupt that thought. And I think that's the power of working and putting yourself into positions where you can work with people that are powerful, people that are doing powerful things and making a difference, and literally trailblazing to where you want to go. Right there, she's in a group with Profit First. She's able to leverage great minds like yourself, and as well the hundreds of other members inside of that group that help her be successful. So you can't often do it alone. It's powerful when you do it together. I want to bring up as well, we had a couple of comments here, Ron, just on this note. Jennifer Hume got back to us, and really she didn't think it was needed to do video prior. And she says, I think the more I can be in their face, the more they know they can lean on me and rely on me. So again, another reinforcement. This is amazing that people are calling us to have our, to help them, because it's embedding a whole new, like, you're the one that's actually in front of them, helping them solve this. They're not going to forget that when things are calmer. If we, when they get calmer, right? They're going to remember that. I mean, what a great embed to have with your clients is that's the person who helped me navigate through that awful time. Right?
Or even if it's just somebody to, talk to about it. It doesn't have to necessarily be strategic. How your kids? How's this? That's how we're starting all of our conversations these days. Everybody okay?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got, Jennifer has said, amen, Ron, call me all day long.
Yes.
Couple more comments here. Bandora Fox. Yes, I've had clients calling me instead of their tax preparer because they say they trust me more. And I reached out to check in and their tax person didn't. So this is another opportunity, and something to be very aware of is that this is the time to reach out, and that will go into a part of the brain that likely, had you reached out 3 months ago, would have just been another piece of noise. This will be remembered.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said earlier, those two partners that reach out to me, I don't mention them as vendors. I'm calling them as partners. And so there's others who haven't called. And I don't, begrudge them, but the two that are going to stand out are the ones that made the effort.
That's right. They stand out in your mind, and
Right.
that's it.
And they're going to get more business from me, no doubt about it.
That's right. You're going to think differently when you're cutting the check for those vendors, and absolutely, that's where we want to be. We want to be valuable and be memorable, right? Be remembered.
Yeah.
And Jennifer's, we're not self-made, we're community made. Yes. Said it in a podcast episode that I recorded yesterday, which was, it takes a community to raise children. It also takes a community to raise your business, right? So doing it alone is definitely the harder road. Get in a community that can support you and help you rapidly accelerate your ability to be successful in your business.
Right.
Well, we're going to wrap this up, and this has been great, Ron. I want to thank you for your generosity and time and being on this episode. And I'd like to open it up to any other questions. If people have questions for Ron or myself or the topic that we've been discussing, please put them in the comment, and we'll try and address a few of those before we sign out. And I also thank everyone who has joined us so far. It's been fun and always interesting being alive and interactive for a podcast episode.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And it's my pleasure to always meet with you, Michael. You guys are doing a great job. And for the listeners, if you want all of our free recession response techniques, tips, videos, you can go to profitfirstprofessionals.com. That hamburger thing, touch recession response. And there's a whole host of documents that you can leverage to aid your customers and maybe yourself on navigating these challenges. And if I can help out in any way, email me, reach out, let me know.
That sounds great. Well, let's try something first. Successful Bookkeeper first, and try and share that for our viewers. And you should be able to see my screen here. And so, Ron, we're going to the profit.
Not the, just Profit First Professionals. There you go. Okay, the little hamburger.
Little hamburger.
Yeah, up. Recession response techniques. Click on that.
Excellent.
Video. And then down is a whole host of action sheets and also leader insights.
Fantastic. So there is a ton of resources here on this, and we'll make sure that for our podcast listeners, this will be a link. We'll link right to this page in the show notes. If you scroll down and grab those, you'll be able to grab those. And I'm going to drop this into our comments so anybody that's watching online can get fast access to that. Excellent. Let's just check. I don't think we have any other questions. Okay. So I am going to go back to just showing us here. Ron, this was a blast. I love having you on the show. You always have so much positive energy and useful action steps that we can take. Thank you, and thank Mike for bringing Profit First to the world and doing such great work. I know we've implemented much of it in our business, and I will tell you, just echoing what Pandora has said, it has provided some relief and peace of mind, just knowing that we have some of these accounts set up and reserves in the account, and we have a better handle on our finances. So great work that you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. You too.
Beautiful. And with that, we will say goodbye to everyone. Thank you, and have yourselves a great day. And thank you for the great work you do with small businesses right around the world. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.